Okay.
Good afternoon. This is Brother Lawrence Syriac at Chaminade High School. It is November 22nd, 2006, and I have the privilege this afternoon of interviewing Mr. Ralph William Parente. And Mr. Parente was involved in World War II. So thank you for coming this afternoon. We're glad to have you here. Now, my first question is this. Did you volunteer to go into the Army, or were you drafted?
I was drafted into the service.
You drafted into the service?
Yes, I had 3 brothers in there previously. They were in the Navy before I was. And then
Okay.
when I was drafted, when I went to the recreation part, they put me into the Navy also, instead of the Army.
Okay, so you actually served in the Navy.
That's
Now,
correct.
when were you drafted? What year?
That was the year of 1944.
Okay, so we still had a good deal of the war to go yet.
Yes,
All right. And you were drafted into the Navy. Now, were you in any units with your other brothers?
no, they were in the different units. One was in the Coast Guard and the other 2 were on the West Coast, I was on the East Coast.
Okay, so there were 3 brothers?
There was 4 brothers.
Okay.
3 other brothers were in already.
Right. And were the other 3 all in the Coast Guard?
No, one was in the Coast Guard, the other 2 were in the Navy.
Okay. And now what type of training did you receive when you were brought into the Navy?
Well, I was sent up to New York State. I forgot what the name of the place was. What was it up there? Do you remember what it was? I don't remember what it was.
Was it up near the Great Lakes, that
No,
region?
I wasn't up in Chicago. No, up New York State.
But I mean, was it on Lake Erie, outside
No,
of Buffalo,
no,
or
no.
further
New York
north?
State.
Was it above Albany?
Yes, it was above Albany.
All right, so maybe it was Plattsburgh or something like that.
Yes.
And what type of training was that?
Well, that was just training to marching and so forth, and explaining of different type airplanes that you could shoot at.
Okay,
American airplanes and German airplanes.
so were they preparing you to be a gunner on the ship,
No,
or just general preparation?
Preparing me to go to Europe and replace somebody else that was going home.
Okay. How long did that training last?
I think it was about 4 months training, 3 or 4 months training.
Okay. How old were you when you were drafted?
I was 33 years old.
So you had already started a pretty substantial life.
I had a wife and a child.
Okay, a wife and a child, and that's
Yes.
and so you did not get an exemption at all because
No, I did not.
because it was late in the war.
And about 3 months after that, they didn't take anyone over 32 years old.
So you-
After I was already drafted.
So you were a little bit unlucky to a certain extent.
That's true.
Now, where were you living at that time?
I was living in New York, Long Island City.
Oh, Long Island City, okay?
Right.
And you had your wife and your child. And what was your occupation?
At that time, I was driving a truck driver.
Okay, so, and the Navy knew that. So when you enlisted, they knew what your occupation was?
Well, they didn't know it until later on. They never asked me that.
Okay, all right. So after 4 months, you come down from upstate New York, and do you remember what ship you were on?
They sent me to Norfolk, Virginia. And from Norfolk, Virginia, they put me on a ship, on an LST ship, to go across the ocean. It took me 22 days to go across on a convoy on this LST. And we landed in Africa. While in Africa, I was put on land and waiting for a ship to take me to the ship I was assigned to. And while there, I had a help load the ships with ammunition and so forth, and other articles. That was my job at the present time.
Okay, so we had already invaded Africa when you came into the war.
That's correct.
And so now we were busy trying to get equipment, military equipment, to the soldiers that were fighting in Africa.
That's correct.
And you were part of the serving that capacity in the Navy.
That's right. And then from there, I went to Palermo, Sicily, where I was anchored in the Gulf there. And while we were anchored in the Gulf, all these ships come alongside of us, these amphibious ships come alongside of us. And I was wondering why they were all alongside of us. There must have been hundreds of them. And the next, they were there about a week. And I woke up one morning, there wasn't a ship there. They all went on an invasion. And we were the only ship there, repair ship.
Was that the invasion at Anzio, do you know?
No, it was Salerno.
Salerno. Okay.
Yes.
So, once you moved from Africa, you moved to Sicily.
That's right. Then the ship took us to Sicily.
Right.
Not to Sicily, then from Sicily we went to Naples.
Then you went to Naples. And by that time, we had already secured a beachhead in
Yes.
Naples area?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you were in Sicily, what were you doing primarily?
I was only there waiting for another ship to take me to my ship.
Okay.
That's all. We were only on land maybe 2 days. I was on land about 2 days. That's about all.
All right. And did you have any particular duty that you had to perform when you were on the
I had
ship?
no duty at all.
You're just waiting for an assignment once you got off the
And I
ship.
waited for my assignment.
Now, when you were crossing the Atlantic, did you have any fears that you might be attacked by German submarines?
Well, we were on a convoy. We had the destroyers as a convoy protecting us,
Right.
but we had no conflict with them at all.
No conflict. So at no
We
time.
made it all the way across without no conflict.
So you would almost not know there was a war going on.
That's true.
Okay.
Just the rough water, that's all.
Rough water. Well, it was the Atlantic.
On a flat bottom.
Oh, okay. All right. What was the food like on the ships when you crossed the Atlantic versus when you were on ship in the Mediterranean? Was there any difference?
Well, the food wasn't bad at all. The food was pretty good. I couldn't complain about the food. The food was all right.
Now, when you got into the Mediterranean, you were now in much more of a war zone. Did you see any differences? You see more planes flying over?
No, we didn't see no action.
Okay.
They weren't coming over to us.
Did you meet
We were
people?
in a harbor there,
Okay.
and there was a mountain alongside there in the Naples harbor.
All right. Did you meet people that had been involved in action?
No, no. We'd seen some of the buildings there, some of the ruins in Naples, some of the buildings that were bombed,
Okay.
and they were cleaning them out because there was no war zone there at that time.
Now, did you come in contact with any civilians in Naples?
Yes, in Naples we come in contact with civilians.
And how did they treat you?
Oh, they treated us good. They were good.
So were they happy to give it?
In fact, when I got on the ship, the fellow I was replacing was a driver, a jeep driver that took the officers from one place to another. And the OD asked me if there anybody that could drive. And I put up my hand, I could drive. He said, "Where did you drive?" As I drove in New York. What did you drive? I said, "I drove a cab, I drove a bus, I drove a truck, I drove everything in New York." He says, "From now on, you don't do anything but wait for somebody, the OD to call you to take somebody someplace else, one of the officers someplace." And that was my duty.
Oh. Did you encounter any mines or enemy activity when you did that?
It was all, no mines, nothing.
How were the roads? Did you have to maneuver around bombed out roads?
The roads were good,
They were good.
yes.
So we hadn't destroyed
No,
No, okay, that's an interesting
not
point.
in Naples. No, it was pretty good in Naples. There was some buildings knocked down,
Right.
bombed, but not many.
You said that the people were friendly. Did they express anger at the Germans?
That I don't know.
Okay,
Of course,
not to
we,
you.
we only got liberty of maybe a couple of hours a day or a week or
Right.
month, and that was it.
Now, could you speak Italian?
No, I couldn't speak Italian.
But you are Italian.
Yes,
All right. So, so you did,
I knew a few words. That's all.
and that was it. So that would limit a little bit of the exchange with the people
Yeah.
to begin with.
Like they had to go to the mail, go pick up the mail, or go deliver the mail to the United States Post Office.
Right.
That's what I did, things like that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when I was driving a Jeep.
Did you ever have to be a chauffeur for any major officers, like a colonel or a general?
No. They give me a 45 pistol to shoot for protection.
Okay.
I had a 45 that I had to take care of.
Okay. But you didn't drive anybody famous, like Eisenhower or.
No. The only time, one time the captain was going, the Jeep driver, had what do you call he had a van. He had a van for the captain. And one time he didn't feel good and I had to take the captain to an affair. And I had to wait there and outside until he come out and I'd take him back to the ship.
Okay. Now, could you write home on a regular basis?
Oh yes.
And you got mail
Oh, it was
from home?
censored.
It was censored?
Yes.
Okay. Now, like, did they tell you the mail was going to be censored?
I knew it.
Okay. But I mean, like, let's say I didn't know it. Was there a way you could tell that it was censored?
Well, when my wife wrote back,
Right.
she
Okay.
told me there's a lot of things missing here.
Okay. So I guess they didn't like.
They couldn't say the destination where you were.
Right.
They couldn't put that down.
Okay. Okay. So while you were in Italy, how was the family being supported?
Well, she was getting so much allowance from
From your own paycheck?
yeah, and she was living with her parents.
Okay.
Her and her child was living with her parents.
Right. Now, how many children did you eventually have?
After that,
Well, you had one when you went to Italy.
that's right.
Okay. And how old is that child?
What's that?
How old is that child now?
That child is 64 years old.
64. Where does he live?
She lives in
Oh, she.
Savannah, Georgia.
Okay. And then how many more children did you have?
I think he was next.
Ralph?
Ralph. Ralph was next.
All right. And then Kevin? No.
And then
Dennis?
Kevin.
Oh.
Dennis was last.
Okay.
No, I'm last.
Kevin's last.
I'm the youngest pop.
He claims to be the youngest, so we'll let him be the youngest.
Yeah, you got it confused.
All right. That's okay.
I'll forget.
It's
Well, it's been a long time. Now, how long were you in Naples?
In Naples, well, I was in about 20 months. I was in Naples for maybe about 8 months.
8 months. And that would bring you into 1945?
Well, the war ended.
So
The war ended when I was in Naples.
Okay.
And we would come back to the States.
Now, while you were in Naples, when the war ended or right before the war ended, did you get a chance to visit Rome or anything?
No, no.
So it was just
We weren't
Naples.
allowed to go. We would only go locally, that's all. You only get a day off, that
Uh-huh.
day liberty, that's all, 1 day liberty, and you'd have time to do that.
Did you see Pompeii or
Oh,
anything?
Pompeii was right there,
So you couldn't miss it.
yeah.
And
Pompeii and the hurricane, what is it, the volcano.
Mhm.
In fact, I did go to Pompeii, it took officers there to visit the Pompeii. They
Okay.
wanted to take visit Pompeii, and I took him there with the Jeep.
When you were in Naples, did you see a lot of Americans continue to come through Naples and go up into Italy?
Well,
Like, were there
that's-
more men landing?
I didn't see many. You couldn't tell because all they had was 1 or 2 days on board on land. The rest of
Okay.
the time we were on ship.
All right.
Unless I was driving somebody someplace else. That's the only time.
Okay, so you were in the harbor most of the time.
That's correct.
And did you have any thing you had to do in the harbor when you were on ship? Was there any particular assignment?
No, when I got the assigned to drive the Jeep, I was told to do nothing. Just wait until they called me. And I hang around, I talk to the fellas while they were either doing something, painting or doing something else, and I talk to them. And that's all I did.
Now, did you volunteer for an assignment on the USS Delta?
There was no assignment there. They assigned me to a machine gun. That
Okay.
was my assignment in case there was an attack. I was assigned to a machine gun. First I was put the ammunition into it. Then he got leave, and I was tired to get the gunner.
Right.
I was the gunner, but I never used it.
Okay.
It was there, but I never used it.
Did you practice with it at all, or?
No, they just told me to turn it this way and that way, and just aiming at it, that's all.
So we didn't use ammunition or anything.
No,
you
there
just
was no action, so I
okay,
couldn't
no
use
action.
it.
Now, did you have a problem with your appendix while you were there?
Well, when we come back, we landed in Virginia, in Norfolk, Virginia,
Right.
and they give me a 5-day leave. So a 5-day leave, I come home, and I went back to the ship. And while I was there, I had another day leave, and I was with 2 other fellas, and one fella says, "I'm going to Washington." He jumped on the bus and going to Washington. He said, "You want to come along?" I said, "I'll go along with you." The other fellow said, "I'm going to Philadelphia." I said, "I'll go along with you." I said, "Well, I'm all the way up here. I might as well go to New York." So I jumped ship. So I jumped ship. I was home a couple of days, and I returned to Pier 82, I think, at that time was the base, instead of going to Brooklyn.
Right.
And I was put in Hart's Island for about a week. And the psychiatrist there asked me this, asked me that, asked me other questions.
It's simply because you.
So he says, everything is all right. So they sent me to Brooklyn Navy Yard, and they put me on a destroyer that they were building. And it was just about completed. It was completed, just a few minor things had to be done. And I went on a shakedown cruise with that destroyer
Okay.
down to Guantanamo Bay.
Oh wow, that must have been pretty interesting.
And that's where I got sick. And I told the doctor, he wasn't a doctor, he was a physical pharmacist mate, I think. I said, "I got a terrible pain, I can't stand it." He said, "Take these 2 pills." All I did was, next day, I can't stand this pain. "Take these 2 pills, you'll be all right." And in the meantime, they were shooting at one another, on a shakedown cruise. That's what they do. They practice, they have targets out there. And I was sick as a dog. I didn't do nothing but lay there. I come back home to Brooklyn, and I felt a little better, and I had the 5 days leave. And the 5th day, I felt so bad, I said to my brother-in-law, "Take me to Brooklyn Hospital, Brooklyn Naval Hospital." That's where they found a busted appendix. I went there, and the chief says to me, "Let me see your pass." I showed him a pass. "Got to go back to duty tomorrow, huh?" I said, "I don't have to go back to duty if I don't have to, but if I have to go, I'll go." So a captain come down and went like this: "Take this man upstairs right away and get him ready for an operation." Had a busted appendix for 3 weeks walking around.
Wow, wow. You're lucky you Didn't
Look
kill
at
you.
it alive.
Yeah, it'd be filled with poison. Wow. Now, just go back to Italy a moment. When you were in Naples, you didn't have a lot of contact with the civilians, but did you meet any Italian soldiers?
No. There was some on a dock there, but they were like working. They were like prisoners or something, the American prisoners, and they were just working around, cleaning up and things like that, that's all.
Mm-hmm. Were they under guard?
No.
Okay, all right. Now, after you were released from the Navy, it was an honorable discharge, right?
Yes.
Okay. So after you were released from the Navy, did you have trouble getting a job?
No.
So what did you do? Did you go back to
Well,
driving?
I had a brother had a trucking business, and I went to work for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you were in Long Island City at that time also?
Long Island City, yeah.
And you lived there?
Yes.
Okay. And then how long did you stay in Long Island City?
Well, I stayed there about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to Queens Village. And from Queens Village, I moved to Mineola.
And how long did you live in Mineola?
How long did I live in Mineola?
25 years.
Yeah, about 20 years, I guess.
20, 25 years?
22 years.
22 years. And then you retired and went to Florida?
22 years, I retired and went to Florida.
Okay, very, very good. Have you had any correspondence with anybody that you were with in the war or in training?
Never seen anybody that I was in the war with. They
None?
all come from different part of the country, never seen anyone.
So,
Never
like,
seen one of the fellas I was with.
and now after the war, did they give you any type of a decoration for being in the war, or
No, I had
patches or medals or anything?
No.
What did your uniform look like?
A regular sailor's uniform.
Mm-hmm.
A regular sailor.
And like when you were in the Atlantic and it was cold, they give you like extra jackets
Well,
and things?
I never had any cold weather, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Well, we were in Naples in the winter time. It was a little cold, but not that cold though.
Now, when you were in Naples, was there any opportunity for you to go from Naples back to Africa again? Or you just stayed in Naples?
I was right on that ship. I was on that ship, and I was anchored there. It was tied to the dock.
Now, was the name of that ship the USS Delta?
That's correct.
How many people would you say was on the ship? How many people would be on the ship?
Oh, I imagine there must have been about 300 or 400. There was electricians, carpenters, barbers, because they were doing repairs on all these ships that come in damaged.
Mm-hmm. Was that the main purpose of the Delta, was to help
It was
repair
a
some of the
repair
other
ship.
repair ship?
Repair ship. You'd
Oh.
see a destroyer come in with a big hole on the side, and they'd repatch that up.
So, how many? Did you see any aircraft carriers?
No. The
And
only time I seen aircraft carriers was in Norfolk when I returned.
Okay.
That's when I seen them.
And were they damaged at all?
No, they were anchored in Norfolk when I could return to the United States.
Right, but they weren't there for repair or anything?
Well, I don't know what they were there for.
Right. And in Naples, were there many destroyers that you saw that needed repair?
Well, we had some destroyers come alongside for repairs, but not that much. I wasn't there that long, 8 months.
Right.
No,
And you didn't have to get involved in any of those
no,
repairs?
that's my job, was drive that Jeep,
Mhm.
that's all.
Okay, very good. Is there anything else you would like to add to what you've already said? Any stories you'd like to tell us? Any recollections that you think would be very good for us to know?
Well, once in a while we went out They give us the USO, went out to, on Liberty, get a little inebriated, and return to the ship and get help.
Was that primarily wine?
What's that?
Was that wine? Wine. Did you get inebriated on wine, or did they have American beer, or what did they have?
I had beer, I didn't have beer.
Mhm.
And one time, as I was driving, it was an alcoholic. He was a shoemaker. He repaired shoes. And I know he was always looking for a drink. So one time I was out at night, and I said to one of the guards on the ship, I said, get a rope and put a bucket down. And put the bucket down, I'll put a bottle in there for the I put a bottle of cognac in the bucket, and he took it up and we sold it to the alcoholic. I paid $2 for it, but I sold it for 20. So the guy with the bucket, I gave him 5 of them.
Oh, did you get caught?
Then a couple of times they had a card game, a poker game, and I played a little poker, and the captain's mate, he had money, this guy, this sailor, and I happened to win a few dollars. And I never played that crap again because we got caught and we got in trouble.
Are you weren't allowed to play poker?
Oh, poker you can play, but
Right.
the crap game, we couldn't play shot crap.
Okay, all right.
That only happened once or twice, that's all.
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, you got to do something, right? What are you going to do in Naples? All right. Is there anything else you would like to tell us that took place during your stay?
That's about it, I guess.
Did you bring anything home with you, like a Nazi flag or?
I took, no, I used to get these, what do they call them, that the women wear.
Cameo. Cameo.
Huh?
Cameo.
Cameos. And they had nice gloves. And I bought a few pairs of gloves and some cameos for my wife and daughter, sister-in-laws.
Right.
That's about all. I didn't bring anything else back.
When you came home, did they search your bags at all?
No, no.
So you
They
could
had
have
your duffel bag and you took it,
and then that was
put
it.
it on a truck or whatever they took you that
Right.
and you open it up yourself and
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very, very much. I know you're here from Florida to enjoy Thanksgiving, and we're very happy that you're able to come back together again with your family. And thank you for your time this afternoon.
thank you.